ferait plus le scénario et on vendrait l'appartement.
Hello friends. This week I had the pleasure of watching a French movie from 1963 called Contempt, or as the French say, Le Mépris. This film boasts a star-studded cast, which includes the likes of Jack Palance, Fritz Lang, Michel Piccoli, and the unforgettable Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot was one of the premier actresses of the 1960s and one of the foremost sex symbols of that era also. The themes of this film are the frustrations and the ultimate futility of love and cinema. We see Paul, played by Michel Piccoli, trying to hammer out a screenplay while his marriage is falling apart all around him. And this is because the American producer, Jeremy Prokosch, has come between Paul and Camille, both metaphorically and many times physically. Here's a quick rundown of the plot. This movie is set in France, and the struggling screenwriter, Paul, has been given the opportunity to adapt Homer's Odyssey for the screen, which will be directed by Fritz Lang. But the movie veers off into uncertain territory when the American producer, Jeremy Prokosch, comes between Camille and Paul. She all of a sudden turns cold toward her husband, Paul, and Paul is unable to get an answer out of her as to why. He doesn't understand that in the pivotal scene of the movie, he's abandoned her to the American producer to further his career. So the entire middle section of this movie devolves into a melodrama with them bickering back and forth, him trying to figure out why she's acting this way towards him, and her playing coy the entire time. Paul's character is naive, obviously, passive, and he's a cool-headed guy, but he eventually loses his temper multiple times because he's not getting anywhere with Camille, and he's getting very frustrated. And although this movie is a melodrama, it works. Why? Because the acting is phenomenal. All four actors put on a clinic in this movie, and they have amazing chemistry with one another. But the American producer, Jeremy Prokosch, he truly steals this movie with his outstanding supporting performance. More on him later. Also, this film was directed by the capable hands of one of my favorite directors, Luc-Godard. Luc-Godard was a revolutionary director and one of the leaders of the French New Wave movement. This movement was propelled by rejection of traditional filmmaking, and he took many avant-garde approaches when it came to his films. Getting back to the performances, for me, Jack Palance as Jeremy Prokosch steals the show. He plays the pompous American producer. He's brash, hot-headed, and a complete blowhard. One of my favorite scenes is at the very beginning, when Paul meets Prokosch for the very first time. His French secretary has to translate the dialogue back and forth between Paul and Prokosch. You can really see Prokosch's arrogant and imposing personality in this scene as he invades Paul's personal space multiple times, sexually harasses his own assistant, and throws a temper tantrum in the studio when he doesn't get his way. And when he meets Paul's wife for the first time, and remember, this is Brigitte Bardot, so she's beautiful, he openly hits on her right in front of Paul. Now getting to Fritz Lang, Fritz is the complete opposite of the American producer. He's wise, he's laid back, he's observational, and he tries to counsel Paul throughout the film, as he himself sees Paul's relationship with his wife is devolving and deteriorating. He utters my favorite line of the entire film, "One must suffer." By many, this film could and will be seen as frustrating and pretentious. That's just Godard's style. He can certainly be excessive at times, and that really shows in this film from 1967, Weekend. But he reins it in here, and this film is a breath of fresh air. It has so much energy and is so alive. It's stylistic and it's incredibly moving, and no matter what you think of it, it's unforgettable. In the end, the movie reveals itself to be a morality play. The lesson is, if you choose your career prospects over your wife and principles as a man, you'll lose both. I give this movie a 9.7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back next week with another review.